Ahmad Assad has been watching today's events with great interest. He is a well-known defense attorney here in town and has lived in Albuquerque almost his entire life. So a judge will now decide if the cases against these two officers should move forward. If the answer happens to be yes, what's going to happen next?
Well, it'll go on a particular track, probably a complex case track, and probably this time next year we'll be in trial with a conclusion as to whether guilt or not guilty on behalf of the defendants.
Okay, so Mr. Assad, if openness and transparency are two things we embrace as a society, why did it take so long to get to today's announcement?
Well, I don't believe that it was political or driven by media. I think there may have been an internal timeline associated with the investigation and review of the case. We don't know, but at the end of the day, I think that we heard Ferguson and we heard Staten Island, and I believe Kerry Brandenburg thought the best process moving forward is an opportunity for transparency and clarity and have the community involved.
All right. With today's announcement, who wins, who loses?
The community wins. There is no loss. The community has a stake. They're a stakeholder. Everybody is involved. Everybody sees what gets involved. They understand the witnesses. They understand the evidence. And so I think the community as a whole wins as a result of the decision to proceed to preliminary examination.
It's out there in the open.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. Ahmad Assad. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and we want to thank Ahmad Assad, who is a well-known defense attorney in our area, for being here to clear up any confusion that you might have about today's announcement, because it is a big one, and of course to give your insight to this. And one of the questions that we wanted to clear up, a lot of people might be confused about where this case goes from now, because it is different.
It is. It is different and unprecedented. It's 60 days from today's date, which the information suggests that it was filed today. There will be a preliminary examination that will be presided over by a district court judge. So essentially 60 days should be the deadline, but they can continue that deadline further if both parties agree.
And that's when we'll see if there's probable cause.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that determination is made for probable cause.
And then if we do get to that point and we do go to a trial, Sam Bregman, Keith Standy's attorney, brought up today that his client was simply doing what he was trained to do by APD, what it's essentially his job. So if we get to a trial, would you be surprised if APD's training techniques were put on trial, essentially?
It would be, in my opinion, would be a dangerous tactic, very dangerous. Because on one end, what I heard him say is that he was acting, his client was acting with justification, lawful justification. On the other end, if he's going to attack the training, you open up the opportunity for what training in state police, when he was a state police officer, his client, or is it APD's training? And can you be legally justified to shoot John Boyd and at the same time be able to claim that the training was ineffective?
Really quickly, if they go to trial and they're convicted, what are the possible sentences that they could face?
In a first-degree setting, you're looking at life. Second degree, you're looking at a mandatory 1 year up to 16 years because it carries a firearm enhancement. And a voluntary manslaughter, you're looking at 1 year up to 7 years.
I'm sure you answered a lot of people's questions. We want to thank you again for coming in and joining us today.
My pleasure.
Tom, we're going to send it back to you.
All right.